You're listening to Marianne Williamson and Ellie Drake.
Nobody inspires me more than Marianne Williamson. When you talk about the drug manufacturers and pharmaceutical industry and depression, and so could you share a little bit about what we need to wake up to?
Well, thank you. And you inspire me too, by the way, Ellie. It's a mutual admiration society. We have, over the last few years, fallen for a story. And this story is the medicalization of normal human despair. There is a spectrum of normal human suffering. It's nothing new. It's not some new disease. And like I said, a divorce, it's painful, but it's not a mental illness. Losing your job, my losing a congressional campaign, these things are painful, but they're not a mental illness. Losing a lot of money is painful, but it's not a mental illness. Losing someone that you love when they die, it's painful, but it's not a mental illness. And so the idea of treating it like a medical condition, numbing ourselves through antidepressants, we now slap this label, depressive disorder or anxiety disorder. These things are spiritual crises. They've been labeled the dark night of the soul, and they are part of what we go through when they happen. They are situations through which we learn many things. We were already talking about the things that I learned, my congressional campaign. When I was younger, I went through a terrible time in my 20s. I learned very important lessons there. I learned not to take life like a joke, not to treat it like a joke, because it's not one. I learned to not take life and love for granted. I learned, as painful as it was, I actually came out on the other side of that, knowing things and having aspects and dimensions of my own character that I had not had before. If you see these things rather as a disease, and I remind you of all the people being prescribed antidepressants today, depression, there's no blood test for depression. It's not like leukemia or diabetes where you take the blood test, you either have it or you don't. It's a questionnaire. And any of us can look at that questionnaire. It's all over the internet. Any of us can look at that and go, well, I've had those symptoms at some point or another. And who is the psychotherapeutic or pharmacological community to come and tell us, well, if you cry this many tears, it's normal. But if you cry more tears than that, it's not. On one hand, we talk about what a genius the body is. Well, if the body is such a genius, why don't we consider how many tears it cries as part of its genius?
Mm-hmm.
To listen to this entire interview, go to elliedrake.com.